What's going on, guys? Riggs here, and I'm so excited to bring you the very next installment of the How to Play Like a Pro series, and we're featuring you guys. Okay, you guys asked for it. So many, hundreds upon hundreds of comments have all asked for one person, and one person specifically. And that person, ladies and gentlemen, is KillSwitchOn from the clan G25. I'm gonna go ahead and break down all of his stats, all of his strats, his techniques, strategies, all these things. I think I said that twice, but in two different forms, but that's okay. I really hope you guys enjoy the gameplay. I am spectating him. There's going to be gameplay from two different games. I only spectated him twice, and both of the matches ended up being, well, you guys will have to see. But yeah, I spectated him twice, and I could not believe what I saw. This is every game in and game out. He went ahead and sent me his career results, and we look at these kills. He's been in Conquer since like the first week here in Season 9. I mean, 10 kills, 15, 13, 18, 16, 22. Do you guys get the picture? The dude's getting double-digit kills every single game. And sometimes you don't get a chance to see a lot of these people play. Some of these top-tier people play. Not only having the highest kill rating, dude last season had 9,000 points in kill rating. This is the guy, the number one gunslinger in North America, or specifically because the tags go by the country. So rocking United States flag, number one gunslinger in the United States. So what we're going to do, you guys, just trying to give you guys a little intro for the few of you watching this that might not have heard of KillSwitchOn. By the way, I'm sorry, but that name, there's something about that name. There's just so much like badass associated with it. I don't know. You guys let me know down in the comment section, but we'll go ahead and start with the questions. Again, I really hope you guys enjoy the gameplay that's on the screen. You might have to watch this twice. One for the gameplay, one for the juicy content. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. So again, always start off with kind of the softball questions, just to kind of warm as like warm-ups. So I asked him when he started playing the game. When did he download it and start playing? That was actually, he's been playing since Season 3. Of course, I asked him what country he was from. I always like to ask that question. And he said he's from Burma, which is kind of like Myanmar, over in that region of the world. And I asked him what kind of device he plays on. He says he plays on an iPad Pro 10.5 inch. Then I wanted to ask him this question. I try to tailor the questions based on the person we're featuring on this series. So I really wanted to know what's the most amount of kills he's ever had, being the guy who's number one gunslinger. Same thing, he's held the number one Terminator title as well. He said the most kills he's ever had in a match, and this was in fact in Conquer, was 38. Let that marinate for a second. It was a solo v squad, but he did get 38 kills in the highest tier that this game has to offer. Again, just let that one settle for a little bit. Then, of course, I always like to know what type of loadouts they prefer, right? So I asked KillSwitchOn what's his go-to loadout. He says M416 and sniper rifle, specifically the bolt action. He says he will sometimes run double AR, but if he does get a hold of a bolt action nice and early, he will go ahead and use that. Then, of course, I ask him, because there's a lot of different ways to configure each of these weapons as far as attachments go. So that was the next question. I asked him what kind of attachments he's running. For his M416, he's obviously going to be running a compensator with a 6X or a 3X. The 6X, if he has a bolt action, will be tailored down to a 3 or just a straight raw 3. Of course, attack stock, and he actually likes the vertical grip. We have seen the grips kind of change between half, between angled. He likes rocking the vertical foregrip. For sniper rifles, he does, of course, like having a suppressor, cheek pad, 8x or 6x. So pretty standard as far as how the attachments are for these weapons. Then I want to ask, a lot of people were asking this as well. Question I hadn't asked anybody, but I saw it a lot in the comment section, and that is how much ammo they're carrying versus how many smokes and all these things, how they're configuring their backpack basically. So he said for whatever AR he's running, he's usually rocking 350 rounds when he has his M416. If he has the bolt action sniper rifle, he will have 50 rounds of that. And if it happens to be something like a DMR, that will be increased. And he has at least 2 grenades and anywhere from 2 to 8 smokes. Just kind of depends, you know how the looting goes. Then I always like to ask him what his favorite map is. I like asking a lot of these guys this question. His answer is, my favorite map will be Vikendi. Vikendi is a great way to push rank, and there's lots of cover and good loot, which is true. And it's funny he mentioned that there's good loot on Vikendi. Just kind of nostalgic, for a little bit. But do you guys remember when the freaking loot on Vikendi was like horrible to the point to where nobody would even play on that map? Have things changed? It's pretty crazy just to see all the different changes throughout the game. Just kind of a sidebar. But yeah, it's true. Vikendi does have amazing loot now. I like that he pointed that out. So then I wanted to ask him about hot drops. And in fact, you guys, even being in Conquer, he says, I hot drop every match. He says, sometimes I lose points, sometimes I don't. The best way to survive is to get a gun and kill your surrounding enemies as quickly as possible. And like we're going to be mentioning a little bit later, because I asked him specifically what I want to focus on. And one thing he's known for is his close quarter combat techniques and skills. So we're going to get into that. And that comes down to reflexes and so on. But I really want to ask him, again, holding a title like #1 gunslinger, or at least in the top 5. I think this season, I believe he's 5, maybe number 3, kind of fluctuates. But the way you're going to get kills, you guys, is by dropping hot. And the fact that he's in Conquer in squads, sitting over 5,000 points, it's pretty remarkable that, you're pretty much surviving every single hot drop every single time. And we're going to get into some of his strategies. We're going to do that right now. So, of course, I always like asking, what are your top 5 tips? So go ahead and jump into that. So the first one, and a lot of these might sound basic, but it's really true. You guys might be playing with some people that don't do this. So #1 tip, he says, use headphones. He says it's the biggest game changer that you can do. What he means by that is there's people who are playing this game. There's people that are playing this game that don't wear a headset or don't even have headphones. Even if you just use earbuds. I know Athena talked about this as well. Guys, if you're playing this game just using the speaker built into your phone, you're not doing it right, you guys. If you want to instantly increase your gameplay, buy a headset. Buy a good headset. I can definitely speak from experience. The difference between a crappy headset and even a decent one or a good one, it's night and day. So that's his #1 tip. #2 tip, he says, always get cover before fighting. I know a lot of people will do this, myself included. Sometimes you get excited, you'll see a bot, or you'll see a person, and what do? You just run out in the middle and you start shooting at them just to secure that kill, and it ends up not being a bot, or you end up being completely surrounded. You end up getting third-partied. So one thing you always want to be aware of is before you engage somebody, what is around you? Is there one of those vehicles, burnt down vehicle? Is there one of those tractors or a hail bay on Miramar? Or just just using the cover itself, using the berms, using rocks, trees, hard cover, all these things, very, very important. So that was his second tip. Third tip, I know Fate also talked about this as well. A lot of these things go hand in hand, you guys. He says use peak fire, crouch down and prone to get less recoils. And no, this is not snaking. This is using a strategy, using mechanics built into the game to your advantage. Something like proning out to take those sniper shots, or if you're going to be tap firing an M16 or an M4, from a long distance and you can afford it and you can get down on your belly and make those shots and have less recoil, do it. Expose that. And also the peak fire. I also know Shabir was also talking about using peak fire, Calm. We featured a lot of pros on this series, man. X-Calm also talked about the exact same thing, using peak fire to have less recoil. Very, very interesting. Number 4 is set up your controls. Meaning, get into the range, you guys. Get into the range. Dial in those sensitivities. I'll be working on a sensitivity video very, very soon. I know a lot of you have been asking for that. But yeah, one thing, all these pros, it seems, that we have featured so far in this series have mentioned dialing in your controls to where they're what you want them to be. So take everything that we're saying, you know. I mean, it's very clear to see that all these guys are, for a lot of these tips, they're top 5. Setting up your controls always seems to kind of sneak its way in there. And for his 5th and final tip, he says, play aggressive, because that's what made me a better player. All right, so now for the big question, and the reason why so many people wanted to have KillSwitchOn in this series and feature him. But specifically what people want to know is not only how does he get so many kills, but how does he pretty much win every single close quarter combat engagement? So that's what I really wanted to focus on, and that's the question I'm going to be asking right now. So I simply asked him, how do you seem to win every single close combat engagement or close range engagement? How are you always winning all these? So here's his answer. He says, close combat kills largely depend on your reflex time along with accuracy. He says, in case you are in cover and you see someone rushing towards you, then you have the advantage of making the first shot, which is really important. The person who fires at first accurately end up alive more often than not. If you know where someone is hiding and you can push towards him, always pre-fire. Another thing a lot of people forget to do. But he says, always pre-fire to make sure you hit him first before he hits you. He says, important thing in close combat is that you have to keep moving while firing so your opponent will miss a few shots. And that's what he's talking about, your accuracy. So if they're missing shots and you're not, plus you're pre-firing, it's guaranteed you're going to win that engagement. Now, he also threw in a little additional tip on how to improve this. He says, if you want to get better at close combat and improve reflexes, play Sonok and land boot camp and push and clear every single enemy. And the reason why so many people wanted to have KillSwitchOn in this series and feature him, big shout out to him, by the way, you know, for answering these questions and you know, being a part of this. Very, very excited I was able to get a hold of him. But specifically what people want to know is not only how does he get so many kills, but how does he pretty much win every single close quarter combat engagement? So that's what I really wanted to focus on, and that's the question I'm going to be asking right now. So I simply asked him, how do you seem to win every single close combat engagement or close range engagement? How are you always winning all these? So here's his answer. He says, close combat kills largely depend on your reflex time along with accuracy. He says, in case you are in cover and you see someone rushing towards you, then you have the advantage of making the first shot, which is really important. The person who fires at first accurately end up alive more often than not. If you know where someone is hiding and you can push towards him, always pre-fire. Another thing a lot of people forget to do. But he says, always pre-fire to make sure you hit him first before he hits you. He says, important thing in close combat is that you have to keep moving while firing so your opponent will miss a few shots. And that's what he's talking about, your accuracy. So if they're missing shots and you're not, plus you're pre-firing, it's guaranteed you're going to win that engagement. Now he also threw in a little additional tip on how to improve this. He says, if you want to get better at close combat and improve reflexes, play Sonok and land boot camp and push and clear every single enemy. Also, another technique that we want to include in this, of course, and as we've seen other pros talk about this as well, from Fate to Athena and even Killswitch, is drop shotting. And it's something that I've been working on, like I promised you guys. Don't have enough for a video yet, you know, specifically talking about drop shotting, But I'm telling you guys, once you master this skill, it's very, very tough to beat, and it's very easy to trip up and break those ankles of the enemy that you're engaging is drop shotting. But hopefully you guys not only enjoy the gameplay. Like I said, a lot of you guys watch this series twice, or these videos twice. One for the gameplay, one for the content. Killswitch, like I said, you guys, he's getting double-digit kills pretty much every single game. The way that he can spot enemies. All right, and before we wrap up the video, another thing I wanted to ask him is, how does he find enemies? What is it? How can someone get so many kills and have a 9? Go in game after this video and look at what your kill rating is. This dude has 9,000 points in kill rating, ranked number 1. So yeah, and let me know in the comment section if you made it this far into the video. I'm really curious. In the comment section, let me know what your kill rating number is. I'm really curious to see where everybody watching the video, where everybody stands. Killswitch, 9,000 points. I'm just going to leave it right there. So how does he find enemies? He says he finds a lot of enemies by always driving in a car. Like you guys have seen in both gameplays so far, dude is always in a car. Always pushing compounds, always listening, getting a good pair of headphones, always listening for footsteps. And yeah, constantly moving in a vehicle. And another big one is always pushing flares, specifically flares, because you know that that's where, I mean, if it's a flare drop, you know there's gonna be people there because the person had to shoot the gun in order for the flare to get there. But also regular drops as well. Those ones are a little bit different. You're not guaranteed to find enemies, but something like a flare drop, you have to be a person to call in a flare. So, and another thing you'll see in his gameplay is that he's always moving. He never, ever stops moving. And of course, accuracy and all those things. But again, you can't have one of these things other. You can't be very accurate if you don't have your controls dialed in. So again, all these things kind of go hand in hand. I really hope you guys enjoyed this installment of how to play like a pro, featuring none other than G25 representing proud the clan G25. I know Fate is no longer part of X or Execute. He's also in G25. So G25 making some moves, you guys. So make sure you guys do a big favor. Not only drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already to my channel, but make sure you guys check out Killswitch's channel as well. Of course, that link will be down in the description. Let me know what you guys thought of the gameplay. And specifically, I really want to know, for those of you guys that made it this far into the video, in the comment section, let me know what your kill rating is right now here as we're pretty much wrapping up Season 9. We've got about a week, maybe 2 weeks left of this season. But that is going to do it. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Like, comment, and subscribe. And of course, let me know who you want to see featured next. But until the next video, this has been Riggs from Riggs Gaming.